I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities of Music. Today, we're going to review a band called The Whores and their album, Skying. Tom, what'd you think of Skying? I'm kind of surprised, based on our previous conversations, to tell you the truth, about what you were telling me you may or may not like about this album.
Yeah, first off, first thing I noticed, and I want to throw this out right now, that this is normally not something I catch on to on first listen, but first thing I noticed, like a couple tracks into this album, was just, oh my god, the mixing and the production is perfect. Usually, I try to focus on songwriting, get into those aspects, later on, maybe third or fourth listen. But right away, what you have here is you have a full band setup that somehow is able to sound like so much more than just a band.
Yeah.
You've got these washy kind of like electronic, whether it's synth or even just a nice kind of U2-esque stadium rock guitar sound that just fills in all the gaps between the instrumentals. It just sounds so thick, and yet at the same time, none of the instrumentalists or the vocalists are stepping on each other's toes. You can always hear a very clear and defined bass, guitar, drums, and that just shows not only that the mixing is good, but also that these are well-written songs and well-composed and arranged songs to the point where there is no weak link in this band. Every aspect of the sound has something to contribute, and they were able to make this album in a way so that those aspects could complement each other and work together.
Perfectly said.
Thank you. And I mean, what more could you want in a rock band than that?
Right.
So going from there to the songwriting, I like just about all these tracks. It's good you have the very atmospheric kind of melodic things. You have the noisy aspects, which what's funny about that is that this band actually started out as more of kind of a typical hardcore punk band, and then they moved into this much more progressive sound. So that's really cool to see a band evolve like that, like the Horrors have. And I know a lot of people have compared them to kind of the New York punk scene, whereas these guys are actually British, so that's interesting. But there's also lots of post-punk influences I pick up on, stuff like Echo and the Bunnymen, just from how reverbed out it is while still maintaining that very graspable beat. So other than that, I mean, I really like this album, as you can tell. I think there's a lot of good things to say about it. What do you want to add to that?
There's a couple things I want to hit on. One that you already started alluding to, but one thing that always gets me about really talented songwriters, especially in this day and age, in 2011, when electronic music, and this is the perfect example of a band that is not an electronic band or electronic, but it may not be their forte. Obviously, they came from what Tom said. They come from a punk, a punk line of writing, and here they have this wonderful blend between real instrumentals and electronic production that kind of stands behind the real instrumentals. I love that. I love it when a band can do that effectively, because so many artists can go one way or the other, but they can't seem to find that blend. And very few artists can actually do it so well. The Whores are one of those artists, and I think that they exemplify that on Skying. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed about this, and it's just so subtle, some of the washes that you hear, which a lot of times it might just be guitar. So and I love the blending there, so that's great. One thing that I actually like about this album, that I find that I have a feeling that a lot of people who like their music kind of chorus, pop, hook related, that need it to just kind of be spoon-fed to them. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what a lot of just general pop music is. When I think of Licky Lee when I'm describing that. An album we both love.
Incredible,
right? But that's the type of music it is. It's just more spoon-fed to you. These songs are longer track lengths. I don't think there's a song here under 4 minutes. These things just kind of go, and they just form and evolve, and they do all these really cool things. And in order for you to really understand what the Whores are doing to you, you have to listen to the whole song. That's how you get the intensity builds and that dynamic contrast. You have to be patient with it and let it grow on you. And I think that now, like I said, I love that. Sounds like Tom likes that because let's just be straight up. We listen to a lot of music and we have trained ears for this stuff. But somebody who's not looking for something like that, somebody who's looking for more hooks and more obvious songwriting what's the word, strengths to just come out and be very obvious about it. They're not going to find that here. But those who are patient enough to take the time and really listen to these tracks, I think they're going to have a very rewarding experience. And then other than that, I feel like this could be more than what it is. I know that's a criticism we give a lot, but we really try to push artists. We want the music to these artists to really go after, not necessarily make a concept album, but go after making an album, making a statement, being bold and saying, boom, this is going to be one of the best albums of the year and you need to listen to it. And actually I think that this has the potential to do that. I think I might be underscoring it a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 79.
I'm going to go 84.
And I'm glad you did, because that'll bring the average up into the low 80s, which is where I think this thing sits for us.
Yeah.
And this could go up in the future, because this is one I'm going to come back to, definitely recommended from us. If you've listened to this album, I don't know how many people, I don't know how we got it on the schedule or how we even picked it up or where this came from.
Yeah.
And then we just started reviewing it. So if you guys have listened to this album, please give us feedback. What do you think about their sound? And where do you see these guys going in the future? Obviously, they've come a long way. So, I mean, what is the future in store for these guys? If not, please go check it out and give us your feedback at www.velocitiesmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesmusic. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.